We'll continue our Working in Progress series with the theme of your Flutter app. Theme is very important. It starts up right away with conveying the look and feel of your application. What I've done, I've put a number of breakpoints within the Flutter Framework itself, showing you where theme, very theme data value is conceived. It's traditionally brought in by, depending on which platform you're in. In this case, I am on Android, so we are using the Material app widget. It has a name parameter simply called theme that takes in the theme you provide. If you don't provide that theme, it'll provide one for you. We'll walk through that now and see how that's done. And then we'll introduce you to the MVC framework that interacts and sits and works with the Flutter framework and provides the theme you wish to use. And we'll actually cross over to yet another video that introduced dark mode to the demo app working memory. Okay, the app is started up. The essential thing, of course, with any application is to set up, to get ready, to call the necessary internet calls, to bring up files, bring up online information, and then when that is all done and completed, present the home screen of your app. The MVC framework is very aware of this, in that it utilizes in this case Flutter's own future builder. So let's just go through this quickly. Here again is the demo app. If you'll know from other videos, we work with the Flutter framework to provide yet another full functioning framework that does a lot of the work for you. Here we are running the app using the run app function. Here is the app defined as, in fact, a stateful widget. This is the app level stateful widget. It has its own function called create view, recognizing that this in fact follows the MVC design pattern. It's returning a app level state object. So right here and now, it's providing in the theme function, it's providing the theme controllers set if dark. Again, you'll find this in another video, where if the last time this app was used, it was in dark mode, set it to dark mode. So it's providing a theme explicitly. If it wasn't in dark mode, in fact, it returns null. But let's watch now. I've put a breakpoint in the MVC framework to actually stop here at the init async. In other words, execute any asynchronous operations that need to be done before your app can proceed. In this particular video, we're going to evaluate when this app is ready to proceed. Its theme data is ready, has been defined. So let's just continue on in this app. As you can see, it's waiting, it's doing its asynchronous operations, as most apps do. The framework provides for this, but I've intentionally stopped it in particular when it involves defining the theme. So in our framework, the MVC framework, because we are in Android, we're working the Android platform, this MVC framework knows to utilize the Material App widget. Here we have the Material App widget. Here's all its name parameters. The MVC framework is providing a number of options because we programmers love options. And in this case, you either have the means to explicitly define the theme as you would with any Material App widget, or define, in other words, extend the app state and define your own on-theme method. Further still, if you don't explicitly define a name parameter inside that on-theme method, you'll find the in-theme method. That's what you've seen here. I defined a method that's passed as a parameter in the MVC app state widget that will provide the theme data. So it's not null. It'll execute that method. Otherwise, as it would normally if you use the Flutter framework, it'll be supplied null. Step through this quickly, knowing full well that we return back to this anonymous function. It's calling the theme controller. Just simply go in there. Again, it's good practice to follow, in this particular case, singleton approach, where I have utilized the factory constructor. So there'll be only one instance of this class throughout the lifetime of this app. It's using the prefs package, which in turn utilizes the Systems Preferences plugin, a very popular plugin that will access the phone's systems preferences. If it doesn't have a setting, it provides one. It's a Boolean, as you can see, true or false. Is it in dark mode? So let's go here. In fact, possibly this has already been instantiated. It has. So it's already been instantiated. It's provided that value. Here is that value. Here's that data, that theme data object. But I put a breakpoint intentionally deep in the Flutter framework itself. What you'll find where we are right now, we are actually in the widgets app state object. That it makes up the Material App widget. So the Material App widget has in turn called the widgets app. It's a stateful widget as it happens. It turn calls it's the builder defined in the Material widget. And here we are. So if and when you run your own Flutter app, this would provide a theme by default. In other words, if you don't explicitly define a theme, which you have to, a theme has to be provided. It's the look and feel of your very app. If you don't provide it, the Flutter framework will do it. And this is what you're seeing here. Theme data is light. This is one of many named constructors. So let's quickly take a peek in there. As you notice, the theme data class, it relies on a number of factory constructors. In other words, the theme data class is following the singleton's design pattern. One instance of the theme data class is being utilized for every app. For the lifetime of the app, there's only one instance of this particular class. So what does this do? Simply providing a theme data class object with the brightness set to light. So many people that are familiar with the Android platform when working with Flutter will recognize the white and light blue look and feel of their application. But in our case, we've defined something else. We'll see what eventually when we actually look at the app. I stopped it right when it's in that circular process and the center screen is being displayed. I wanted to give you a deep appreciation of where your theme is being defined. course, using the MVC framework, your theme is being defined early on so that you have possibly other asynchronous operations. The simple fact is, when you develop a framework, you don't know what your users are going to use that framework, the individuals I should say. This is free, it's an open source framework. I made it simply because I wasn't happy with the frameworks out there. Provider, Redux, don't get me started. Anyway, you had to have a theme defined quick and early. Who knows what the users will be using? Operations will be called upon to provide a theme first and foremost. Let's just simply here for a moment. We're in the widgets app state object. It's defining the theme. It defines it right here if one is not explicitly provided. And then it comes right down to this. This is essentially your app. If you didn't know, in this case, this widget here, because it's been told that it's actually within a material app, it's going to take in certain attributes, the shadows theme in this case. Again, that's for another video. But you'll notice that each and every Flutter app you ever make will be wrapped within a theme app. Here is the data, here is the theme that we defined, whether implicitly or explicitly. In most cases, it's literally the theme data light. And then here's your app. Just know this. So we're deep in the Flutter framework itself. Now we're going to get out of there. Hit OK. And look at that. As it happens, it was already in dark mode. Just want to give you an appreciation of theme data and what's involved. So let's just close this. I'm going to start it again. Of course, watch all that. I'll truncate the video so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Come back to the app once it's ready and run through it one more time. Give you an appreciation of what's involved in providing the look and feel of your Flutter app and how the MVC framework utilizes that fact. So we're back. Now look at this. We are in the MVC framework, which first and foremost wants to take care of any asynchronous operations that need to be performed before your app can proceed. One of the fundamental things it does, let's just simply walk through this. This all will be for yet another video. This allows for hot reload. You can reload your view, in other words your home screen, anytime you want. This mechanism provides for that. As you can quickly see, there's a lot of things utilized that has to be done, and most of them, not all of them, are asynchronous operations. Utilize the system preferences right off the hop. We collect some online information. We collect the device info information if we're not running on the web, of course. This framework allows you to run it, of course, on Android, on iOS, on Windows now, and the web. If you look here, notice this. Right off the hop, we're concerned about setting the theme data. So let's go, I'm going to quickly just put a breakpoint here, just to circumvent the process and give people an idea of how the app itself is concerned about the theme of your application. Now again, we get appreciation that we're debugging, so this is taking, what normally would take microseconds. Being stopped, it's being interrupted. So we're stopping it right here, and we're getting the theme. So part of the MVC framework, again, we take advantage, we work with Flutter, unlike Provider, which makes up its own approach. It sits on top of Flutter. It doesn't embrace the stateful widgets and the state objects. One frustration that I had with the existing solutions first introduced to Flutter 2 years ago. So I made my own. And of course it's not my own. It's been established design pattern in the early 1970s. Regardless, let's go here. We're in the app's init state. In other words, we're in the app state object's init state function. And even before I do anything else, well, that's right, look at this. The theme data is only precluded by the error handling. That's another frustration I found with the current frameworks. It didn't provide any innate error handling. That's a whole new series of videos in itself. So let's go back. We're in the init state. And second only to error handling, do we define the theme. Because the users of this framework will need the theme for their own operations. Unlike if you did in fact utilize a framework, you'd be utilizing the Flutter Framework. And this right now precedes the Flutter Framework. It certainly doesn't work against it. So it called on theme and provides it. If it's not null, it actually sets the app object. This is the global reference app object that has the functions and features and characteristics of your app readily available to you as you're developing your software. You're taking a peek now at what mechanism is involved in actually setting the theme. It happens that there is an in-theme method provided. It happens to be dark mode. When I put a breakpoint here, it sets that theme. Here it makes certain that that is a valid value. Sets it, and it's part now of this framework, the MVC framework. And you're assured down the line, deep within the Flutter framework itself, that very same theme value is provided. There you are, quick video on theme data and where it originates. This is simply another part of a continuing series of videos on developing software, not only utilizing Flutter, but utilizing the MVC design pattern.